Midlands community. I am thrilled to be here today with Stephen and Jessica Splon. Stephen and Jessica are such an integral part of the SASS family. Jessica is one of our SASS instructors, and Stephen is an invaluable member of our board of directors. And over the time that we've been able to spend together, both Stephen and Jessica have also become such dear friends. So Stephen and Jessica, thank y'all so much for taking the time to talk with me and to our broader Midlands community. And I think we'll just get started if that's all right with y'all.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Indeed.
Okay, great. Well, Jessica, let's start with you, because I think that you were the SASS, the starter of SASS in your family. And can you tell me a little bit more, how you first learned about SASS, why you decided to take that first class, and then also why you decided to take the next step to be able to share SASS with everyone as an instructor?
Well, interestingly enough, my husband was the one to actually invite me to the SASS class. A course was being hosted at his workplace, and he'd asked the host if his wife could come. And she said, absolutely, tell her to come on in. And so I made a point to put that on my calendar, and I went to visit the class and took place with, it was Shannon and Brett at that time, and loved it instantly. Just everything about it, everything that was said, everything that was done. There were different experiences in my life, both firsthand and from as a third-party viewer. Things that I experienced that should have never been experienced, but I just accepted it as a fact of life and buried it and kept going. And so while I was in that class, all of those memories just came flooding in, and it just spoke to me. I mean, just resonated me at such a level where I said, this is what I want to do. And after the course, I spoke with my husband, Stephen, and I told him I absolutely loved it and I wanted to pursue it. So I met with Brett later on, maybe a few weeks later, and we kind of talked about what that would look like with, being involved in SASS. And so I then went on to take the SASS Elite course, which is everything that SASS offers. And I still was like, yes, this is definitely what I want to do. And so from that point on, I began taking the steps of becoming a SASS instructor. It's important to me because I think that there's so much that as women, I think we undervalue or underestimate about ourselves. And SASS just opens those doors. It explores all the parts of us that are sometimes either buried or denied or ignored, because there's so much strength in each and every one of us. And while I think it's great that, we can be polite and we can be sensitive and we can be nurturing, there's just that other part of us that we always ignore or often ignore. And SASS for me was just opening that door, but as well as making sure that every single female whoever is engaged in the SASS course, whether it's a speaking event or an actual class, that each and every female can recognize there's so much power inside of you already, but we just got to open that door so that you recognize it's there.
Thank you, Jessica. I want to go out and take another SASS class now.
And everything she said about how passionate she was when she came back from the class, and seeing her light up and seeing her so excited, it's like she found this long lost part of herself. And to see her not only engaged and excited and passionate about it, I was all in. I was like, hey, baby, run, run, go, let's do this. And I was going to back her up 100%. Yes. And I've been her biggest cheerleader ever since. And so being on the board and being able to help speak into next steps and how we move forward and just help expound on our values of love, integrity, excellence, and reverence, just help us walk through how do we do that in the culture we have today. Just really excellent. That's why I'm passionate about SASCO.
And Lisa, I want to say this because not a lot of people know this, but Stephen has a martial arts background. And throughout the course of our marriage, at different times, he'd try to show me different moves, and because he's always wanted to make sure that, I was empowered and that I could protect myself if I ever needed to. And SASS was different though. And so he would always, he'd say, hey, let me show you this. And I was like, okay, sure, you can show me. And I don't know exactly what the entire difference is, but the way SASS incorporated all of those tools just spoke to me in a different level. And maybe because it's woman to woman, maybe it's just because it's a different kind of relation or a relatable experience. But I was just so gung-ho, as he said, after taking the SASS course. And again, was very grateful for everything that he'd already taught me, but it was just so different. And that's why I recognized the difference between SASCO and a lot of other classes that people can take for self-defense, which we know self-defense across the board is great. I don't care how you take it, absolutely take it. But SASCO is so unique for women. And that's why for me, it was just, this is it. This is where I need to be.
And Stephen, and to both of you, I love how SASS truly is a family affair. And another example of that is, I know, Jessica, you teach, our elementary school curriculum, our middle school curriculum, and our women's curriculum. And I know that your daughter has gone with you on multiple occasions, which I love. Mm-hmm. And I guess, Stephen, I would ask you, as a father, why do you think it's important for your daughter to be trained in the SASS curriculum?
That's amazing for you to ask, because not only as a father, but just as a man who values the protection of womanhood in the first place, you never want to ever think of the worst case scenario taking place. And to me, my daughter being put in a compromising situation where she is losing control in any fashion is an unbearable thought, right? And so every father who loves their daughter wants her to be protected. And so in that case, the fact that my wife was not only passionate and intimately involved in the curriculum and teaching it, but that my daughter not only caught the fire for that passion, but she wanted in and she learned, and she came home, she was like, Daddy, I feel more confident now. Daddy, I learned how to protect myself like you wanted me to. Daddy, I can do this. And her confidence level went up. Her thoughts of herself went up. Her self-image went up. And it just was amazing for me to have the confidence to know that, hey, my wife and my kids can go to the park and have a fun time while Daddy's stuck at home working, right? And if they do that, I don't have to be in fear and say, all right, load up with a book bag with 16 weapons, right? No, they are weapons.
They have all the weapons they need.
Right.
Well, the beauty, and I think what really speaks to me, Stephen, you are talking about wanting your daughter to have those tools. And one of the things that we are so grateful for the two of you is you want all girls to have those tools. And so the two of you actually have been part of the SASS program at Epworth Children's Home here in the Midlands. And I'd like just to ask you to describe a little bit about, what you were doing over at Epworth with SASS and the impact that you are hoping that will have.
You want to start, babe?
Sure. One of the things I guess that really stood out in our visits with the Epworth Children's Home is coming in contact with so many young women from all different walks of life. They would have different reasons of why they were at the home at the time that they were, but none of those things were something that was within their control. And so what was important for us is that we talked to them about relationships, what healthy relationships look like, because very often an unhealthy relationship or, some part of that would impact the reason that they were in the home or the children's home. And we want to talk to them about their value and being able to value themselves. Because a lot of times when things happen to you, things out of your control, you often either lose value or fail to see the value that's already there. And just being there and being able to speak to all the young women was just so powerful to us. But again, to just be able to pour into them, to offer them hope, to give them a different perspective from maybe what they've already seen. And it's just beautiful to see the lives that, were possibly changed, but just the light in their eyes, to see the questions that were posed after that shows that, okay, hey, they're thinking,
Yes.
they're seeing
Yes.
things in a little bit of a different way. And
No, I would absolutely agree. And just in addition, I think that me and Jessica being there together gave them a perspective of what a healthy relationship looked like. And so we would really try to focus on just being practical and teach by principle, versus giving step by step, you must do this and this. We wanted to be more focused on teaching principles that could help them be healthy as a person, but also be healthy in relationships, whether it's peer-to-peer relationship or their future relationship with the potential spouse. And so we really wanted to focus on one, their interaction with others, but what was healthy and what wasn't. And I think specifically when it came to people of the opposite sex, so saying to them, hey, if this is happening, this isn't healthy. If this is happening, this is a sign that it's not going in the direction of sustainable good for you inside and out. And that was healthy as well. And being able to know that there was SASS Go was there to help walk through what opportunities they offered. And we wouldn't have even been introduced to go to Epworth if it wasn't for SASS Go. And us being people of color, being to be there in front of some of these students, where some of them were students of color also, really made an impact for them because they didn't usually get to see mentors that would look like them. And so that was helpful. And even the college students who came to help volunteer and be a part of it also, to see them really embrace us and embrace SASS Go and be wanting to make an impact and a change and yet still be getting something while coming was really great.
And I think what's really important too when it comes to self-defense is that it's not just the physical nature of self-defense. It really is that mental preparedness. And so, as Stephen said, recognizing unhealthy relationships early, recognizing the signs that this may not be good for me, this is not what's best for me. But in addition to, again, the valuing themselves so that they can say, you know what, I'm worth defending, not just my body, but my heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, honey.
Well, why in your mind is community support so critical for SASS?
You've heard the old saying said, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I think the same is true for protecting a child too. And not just protecting a child, but really just bringing that cohesiveness in a family unit. If you really look at the realities of community and surrounding environments and society, impact is going to happen. The question is, what kind of impact is going to happen? And so looking at organizations like SASS Go, other organizations who focus on health and wellness, both emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, all of those things encompassed, but not only just developing them, but the protection and the self-confidence to know that you can be sustained and you have those who are in your corner who are fighting for you to do well is so important. And as a board member of SASS Go, that's something that I really appreciate about Shannon and about you, that when we're there, we're always thinking about every person and every life and every cultural group, because we want to reach everyone. This isn't something that's in a box that's closed and we say just this group. We want it to reach everyone, which is why I'm so honored that SASS Go gives this opportunity to every person in every place, no matter what capacities or abilities or resources you have access to. And I think that that's so critical. And in the community, we need these type of activities and groups and organizations like SASS Go to come in and open the door for not only women to learn ways to be protected, But for fathers like me to know, hey, I can send my daughter here to a sassafras class or a mother-daughter class, right? And know that they're going to learn something that will help them throughout the course of their life.
Absolutely. And if you look at the purpose, the reason SASCO even exists, as Stephen stated, it's not, when it comes to trafficking, assault, and abuse, it's not just limited to a certain people group. It goes across nationality, ethnicity, socioeconomic background, education. It affects everyone. And there's not a person who exists can say that they don't have some attachment to a female, because you couldn't be here if that wasn't the case. So regardless of how extensive the relationships are, there's a woman in each and every person's life that has had some sort of impact. And if you think of that woman or that young girl who's going to grow up to be that one, that woman, you want to protect everyone. And it's not enough for me to say, I want to protect my daughter or I want to protect the people in my family, because if I ignore everyone else around me, no matter what care and protection I give for my family, they're still going out into the world with those people who didn't necessarily get those tools and that education and that protection. And if we don't help reach out to each and every person, whether it's protecting, educating, empowering, defending, whatever that looks like, then we're just living in a world where the cycle continues. And we need to do everything that we can to diminish that.
And I would paraphrase the quote from Dr. King that says, a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I think a good parallel for SASCO is a threat to protection of womanhood anywhere is a threat to protection of womanhood everywhere. Yes. And so it's important that we understand that we are here to help all people.
Absolutely.
We are just so appreciative of the two of you, and thank you for your time. And thank you for being SASSers and being an integral part of what we are building here.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Lisa. We're just glad to be able to work with you and all leadership of SASCO. We want to see SASCO be available for many others for years to come.
Absolutely.